Welcome to Pareva TV. We are greatly honored to have Dr. Armen Kiureghian, co-founder of the American University of Armenia, join us from California. And the topic of our discussion is his book. This is his book. It says, From Earthquake Tragedy to Beacon of Light, the story of the American University of Armenia by Armen Kiureghian. Congratulations, Dr. Kiureghian. It's a most fascinating book about a most outstanding institution. And you have given us the history of the university from day one, from its inception as a vision. And I think it's a very important book to help future generations to understand the history of this institution, which we hope will grow exponentially in the coming years. Let me ask you first question. There are so many things I would like to discuss with you. Where were you on September the 21st, 1991, and what were your thoughts that day?
Let me first thank you for this opportunity to talk about my book. September 1991, I was actually at Berkeley.
Berkeley.
As you know, I was a professor at the University of California at Berkeley. In 1991, September, I had just returned. Not September, but I think early August, I had returned from Armenia. And unfortunately, because of my obligations at Berkeley, I was not there on the first day of classes at AUA. But I had returned from Armenia, having set up together with my colleagues, Mir Nagbabian and Stepan Karamardian, we had set up all things that had to be done for classes to start. But at the beginning of the classes, because of my obligations, teaching obligations at Berkeley, I was at Berkeley. I was not in Armenia.
What was going on in your mind? The September 21, 1991 was the day Armenia declared its independence, the same day the American University of Armenia was born. It's just amazing.
It is a coincidence.
A coincidence.
It was really, it was planned that the classes would begin on that day, or rather the classes began on September 23, but on 21, the plans were set up early that would be the first day opening of the university. But the parliament happened to announce independence on that day. So the American University of Armenia is as old as the Republic of Armenia, by even in terms of days.
You know, you speak, this book is very comprehensive, very detailed. I don't think there is any similar book that gives the details you have given, with archival notes of minutes of guests coming to the university, lectures, reactions, students' life, faculty life. It's a complete history of the American University of Armenia. Obviously, there was a vision. There was a vision you had of the university, and you give us an idea of the foundation, the growth, the challenges, and the achievements of this university. And I love the way you said your difficulty was to line up the planets. I read you loud and clear when you say the lining up of the planets, because if one planet is out of line, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's a very rare event that planets line up. So this was also rare. We had a group of people that were dedicated, really committed to this idea. the timing was right. The Armenian government wanted this kind. Even I'm talking about the idea was conceived in 1989 and conveyed to the Armenian government in 1989. And this is the Soviet time.
Mm.
It was the Armenian Soviet Socialist Republic government that enthusiastically responded positively to this. So it was just lining up of the right individuals, the right timing. Many things happened that sort of, I likened this to lining up of planets in the sense that everything worked out well for this to happen. But as I explain in the book, there were major, major challenges.
Absolutely.
There were challenges in the first year. There were shortcomings, and we had to address these things. So the book doesn't just tell a glorious story of every success, every step successful, but also talks about the challenges we had to deal with.
You know, you just mentioned it was during the Soviet era. Is there any time, or can people rightfully think that there is American influence that is promoted in Armenia to replace Russian influence? Is that the role of the American University?
No. After the earthquake, when Mihran and I were part of this reconnaissance team organized by the National Academy of Sciences, went to Armenia just 12 days after the earthquake. At that time, we noticed that the knowledge of earthquake engineering was very poor in Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
So we realized that there was need for education. But our thought at that time was to bring graduates from Armenian universities to the United States to provide them with higher education, PhD, and send them back. But then this, as we discussed more, we realized that a better approach was to, rather than bring them here, was to take education from here to Armenia. And I think this was, although at the time some people criticized, long term, it really, really prevented migration out of Armenia. I can assure you, if the American University of Armenia were not to be an available opportunity for young people in Armenia, hundreds of them would leave Armenia to get education, Western education abroad. So Miran and I, who conceived the idea, we had the idea of taking modern American-style education to Armenia. We had no intention or purpose of replacing the Russian political influence with American political. That wasn't the issue. It was purely educational because we believe that American higher education, I would not necessarily say that American primary or secondary education is the best in the world. I would not say that, but the American higher education is really, in many ways, top-notch. And we wanted to take that experience to Armenia.
Was there ever an attempt to create another university, American university in Georgia or in Azerbaijan or any other Soviet?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, of course there was. In Georgia, Armenia, Georgia, they had this big amount of money. What was it called? Millennium Grants. Georgia used its Millennium Grant to get San Diego State University
Mm.
to establish a campus in Tbilisi
Mm.
in collaboration with 3 local universities.
Mhm.
In fact, they did it, but then the money ended. And now the program still exists, but it is under the administration of these local universities. In a way, it was not an independent university, it was a campus of San Diego State University operating in Tbilisi. And so it's sort of now it really doesn't exist as an independent university. The programs are part of the local universities. There is a American University of Central Asia in Kyrgyzstan, and which is was established shortly after AUA, and is the only other American university in the former Soviet republics. Then there was a university established in Azerbaijan in collaboration with an American university in Texas in, I think, 2000 something. But then it operated 2-3 years and it vanished. In fact, if you search for American University of maybe Baku or American University of Azerbaijan, they still have a website, but it's a dead website. Nothing is happening. It closed down.
Mm-hmm. There, as I said, there is so much we can discuss, but institutions are built by people. People are very, very important in any institution. And you have gone out of your way to recognize the many people who have been supporting the institution, the AUA. And obviously, in the initial years, it was Louis Simon. The role of Louis Simon in HBU has been recorded beautifully in this book. You also speak about the legendary Edward Avedisian. There are the Akians, there are just so many other names. Give us an idea of how does it feel and what was the magic? What was the magic that you were able to get the diaspora so involved in AUA?
Well, first, I must stress the very critical role that Louise Manoukian Simon played. There is no question this university would not happen if it was not for the personal and through HBU support of Louise Manoukian Simon. Louise was the executive vice president and then the president of HBU at the time. And I remember when we sent out the proposal for the university, the idea, to many, many people, many organizations, we received many responses. Some were encouraging, some were saying, well, this is sort of not going to happen. But then we received this short letter from Louise that said, this is a great idea. We will put money behind it. And she committed to it. Not only in terms of money, she had insights. She really was a very, very smart lady, very smart. And I described a story in the book where we had a meeting of the co-founders with Louise, and then I was reading this document, which was a memorandum of understanding we were to sign. And then Louise stopped me and said, "Who are you?" And then I sort of was taken aback. But then she said, "What I mean, are you representing yourself or are you representing the University of California at Berkeley, where I was a professor?" To be honest, Mihran and I had not thought of it. we were acting as individuals, but we were signing our letters in our official capacities. And Louise said she doesn't want to work with individuals, she wants to work with institutions. So this was a very key moment in the history of evolution of the idea. So the rest of that meeting, we talked about how we can approach the University of California and ask them to help. And we did. A letter was drafted. Louise sent the letter to David Gardner, at the time the president of UC. And the story is in the book how Gardner responded positively, said, we will look into it, and then appointed his second man, Provost William Fraser, who convened a team and who visited Armenia in 1990 we were 11 people, Miran, Stepan Karamardian, the other co-founder who had joined us, and I were part of that team, but the rest were non-Armenian high-level officials of the University of California system, chancellors, deans, very top-notch people. Went to Armenia in July of 1990 to assess the potential, the possibility of establishing an American university in Armenia. They came back with very positive views. Mm-hmm. We, among many places, we visited Matanataran, we visited Glazor University from, in the book I say maybe it's 13th century, there was a university there. And we visited scientific institutions and many politicians and so on. And they came back with a positive assessment. And then the University of California agreed to help us in establishing the university, help us in terms of academic programs and many others. Now that affiliation is a unique affiliation. Mm-hmm. There is no other university in the whole world that has this kind of affiliation with the University of California. UC does not provide funds to us, of course, it's a public university, but they provide in-kind advice on academic issues, on legal issues. Their general counsel's office helps us in kind without charging us, but in kind they provide advice. Their human resources office, and very importantly, our endowment is managed by the Office of the Treasurer of the UC system, and it costs us very little, the same as it costs UC Berkeley or UC San Diego for them to manage the endowment. So our tiny little 110, 20 million endowment is a part of this billions of dollars of endowments that they manage. And it is extremely valuable to us that this is being done through that office.
You know, you definitely recall the earlier days where the foundation of the university was laid. You speak so passionately about Louis Simon. I'm sure if you had a chance, you will speak equally about Miran Arbabian, Dr. Miran Arbabian. And as you very well know, on February the 12th, 2019, and then 7 days later, on February the 19th of 2019, we lost Miran Arbabian and Louis Simon. Could you tell us what was that loss? How did that impact the university's life? Must have been very difficult.
First, I must say that I, of course, have very high regard for Miran, and I have written in the book about him. What was remarkable about him as the founding president, he started with nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
There was nothing. But he had this vision of university with all its elements. And from the very beginning, he set up these things. The student organization, association, the faculty group, shared governance, offices for career development for students. Can you imagine? We are starting a university. He was thinking about all these things. And he did not yield to the extremely difficult challenges we had. We pushed forward, and I must. So I have written many things about the way Miran operated. Now, you're.
The fact that we lost both of them at the same
yes,
time
yes, yes.
was very difficult.
Yeah, we lost them. We lost them when I was president of AUA. And I had, in fact, seen, and we had celebrated Miran's 95th, I think, 93rd birthday, just a few weeks earlier before he passed away. The biggest impact on me that their passing, both Miran and a week later Louise had, was I realized that I have to write this book. This book is a reaction to their passing.
I see.
I realized, well, Stepan Karamardian had died many years earlier, 1994. So when Miran and then Louise passed away, I realized that all the people who were involved in the early years have passed away, and I'm the only one remaining. So I felt an obligation to record what happened then, because really nobody else has that extensive memory from the very first day of conceiving the idea, going through the founding of the university and the troubleshooting, and then eventually institutionalizing, expanding, advancing the university.
You're the father of two children, Naira and Cebu, and I understand jokingly, AUA is your third child, as you know. You're in the book, you at least bring it up. And you really have taken good care of this baby, that the AUA has been really your third child.
Yeah. Well, this is what in early 1990s, when I was traveling a lot for AUA and UC Berkeley, coming home from work and then working on AUA, one day I told Nellie, my wife, Nellie, don't you think we should go for a third child? And she paused for a moment and then said, consider AUA as our third child. So that's how that came about. But you mentioned Avetisian, Akians, and of course they joined in later years, not early 1990s. Louise was the major contributor in the early years, but then Tropangians, Akians, Avetisians, and many others joined, but these three have made major, very large contributions.
I hate to cut in, but you have a beautiful library, the Papazian Library, is it?
Yes.
Yes, and what is very, very interesting is the fact that diaspora Armenians like Antranik Andreasyan, Richard Hovanesyan, Vartan Grigorian have donated all their books to that library. It's just mind-boggling.
Exactly. By the way, Papazians were from Switzerland, not American Armenians. They were Armenians in Switzerland. And Louise was the intermediary they gave for the library. And today, AUA is the best English language library in the whole region. Forget about Armenia alone. I'm talking about the whole region. It has relations, agreements with universities abroad in many countries. so that and it's open to the public.
Yes, yes.
Anybody can be a member of the library. It has, I don't know, more than 10,000, 15,000 clients. Anybody can become a member of the AUA Papazian EGBU Papazian Library, and they can borrow books, physical books, electronic books, and if we don't have it, they can borrow from one of our affiliate universities in the United States or Europe. They scan and we share. And so it is a very, very important and rich resource for Armenia.
That was really interesting. Also, in 2014, at the AUA, there was a conversation you had with Dr. Agbabian and Vartan Grigorian.
Yes, yes.
There was it's on stage. And that was most fascinating, most interesting, because here you had two giants, two intellectuals who shared their vision about the university, about Armenia, about Armenians. I think that similar conversations should be continued in the future with intellectuals, with people in the academia. But the reason I'm bringing this up, I believe Vartan Grigorian had a point there where he said, in Armenia today, we have millionaires and billionaires. My question to you, are Armenians from Armenia participating in the building of AUA?
Yes, but not as many people as you would hope. For example, Vartanians, they are the candy people who have the candy. They also built this very nice playground on Vazgen Sarkisian Street. I can't remember their name. I think
Garapetian? Garapetian?
No, but Candy, Armenian, the famous Candy.
Yes. Okay.
Owners of Grand Candy, yes. I mean, they one day walked into my office.
Real.
And I didn't ask them. They walked into my office. Their two daughters were students there, and they were very happy of the experience that their daughters had there. They walked into my office and they said they want to help the university. How can they help? And they established, I believe, a scholarship endowment. There are others who have done similarly, but there are a large number of people who could. We have to be very careful. We tend not to ask parents of our students.
I see.
We don't ask until once they have graduated, it's a different story. But during the time they are students, we don't ask. If they want to do, that's fine. Or parents of people who want to apply and come to AUA. We are very careful about that. I must stress that our alumni are becoming more and more active in supporting the university.
Beautiful.
Interestingly,
That's
the 1993 class of 1993, that is the first group of our students, they are very supportive of the university. They are members of the prestigious pillars of the university. They are members of the change makers. They started an endowment that now is 200, I don't remember, $50,000-$60,000 as a part of endowment, and the payout from that endowment goes towards scholarships. And they are constantly finding ways of supporting the university. A number of the alumni are individual pillars or individual change makers. Pillars is a group of 100 supporters, each having given $50,000. Change makers are a group of 200, each giving $25,000. And these are unrestricted funds, so the university is able to use this money for its budget and then focus on raising the endowment. This is how we were able to raise a rather respectable endowment.
You know, as I said, the diaspora is voting with their money to support AUA. And only, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, there was a Barkev Kasarjan Charitable Fund, which
Yes,
announced a major donation to
that's right.
promote education and case studies about.
Yes, yes. Barkev himself taught at AUA on a number of
Oh,
occasions.
really? I did not know.
Yes, yes. He knew AUA well. So in his will, he identified an area that is very much need, case studies in business and engineering, and he put money to support that kind of a program. And these case studies, together with universities abroad, would be very good for Armenia, not only as pure education, but they're also very important in terms of starting businesses in Armenia. Bartan, I must say something that I have said many times. AUA is the best gift that the Armenian diaspora has given to Armenia.
Bravo.
Because it educates the young generation, it prepares them to start businesses, to work in the government, to start non-government institutions, to get into education. And so it has very, very long-term effect on the country. So it is not then surprising that diaspora Armenians find AUA to be a very effective vehicle to help the homeland. And in terms of management, finances, we are very open. We are a 501c3 organization, so we are audited every year. Everything is open, transparent. They know where the monies go. We have many, many scholarship endowments, and people who have given those endowments receive letters from the students who are supported through those endowments. So, in a sense, I think AUA is an ideal institution for support from the diaspora. And of course, local Armenians are more and more realizing that. And as I said, this is growing. Support from within Armenia has been growing over the years.
You speak about being audited every year. I understand there's also the accreditation process that has to go every 5 years, 10 years. How often?
Yes.
Because you belong to the WASC.
We are accredited by Western Association of Schools and Colleges.
Yes.
We are the only university in the former Soviet republics that is so accredited. Even the American University of Central Asia that I mentioned earlier, they don't have accreditation from, they have accreditation from their own government,
Absolutely.
like we do from the Armenian government. But in addition, we have this international, highly respected. Now, this started, we started in early 2000, and initially we were accredited in 2006 for a 6-year period, and then, no, I'm sorry, 7-year period, and then you have to go through reaccreditation. We were reaccredited for 9 years, and then in 2023, we were reaccredited for the maximum of 10 years. WASC is very happy with the way we're operating in terms of our
Beautiful
academic standing, or we have a very rigorous self-assessment OIRA, Office of Institutional Research and Assessment. We constantly do surveys from within and outside the university. We assess our progress. We assess the achievements and success of our students, academic quality. And the WASC also looks at the capacity,
Of course.
what kind of budget we have, what kind of resources we have, faculty, the facilities. And so we've been very well accredited. As I said, even WASC accredits universities in the west coast of the United States, California, Oregon, and Washington. And even some of these universities don't get the 10-year reaccreditation. They get it for 6, 7, 8 years and so on. But this time we got the maximum of 10 years because they were very laudatory about our achievements. So not only financial auditing, but this is, of course, reaccreditation is an entirely different auditing of our academic achievements and quality.
Dr. Kiureghian, your journey has been most fascinating, is most fascinating, because we hope you can continue for many more years. You have a lot to contribute. Many people know you as a professor at University in California, engineering, earthquake, physical studies. Who is Dr. Armen Kiureghian? What is your beginning? Give us a small, quick highlights of your life.
Well, I must say my mother, Mara, had a big influence on me. She was very strong in her commitment to Armenian issues. I went to Armenia in 1986 as a professor, visiting professor. And I then, after the earthquake, when Miriam and I were there, we were very affected by what we saw. The devastation was enormous. And the first chapter of the book, as you know, is about the earthquake. And
Yes.
Because that was the instigation, the reason for conceiving the idea of the university. So, yes.
I'm just showing the book.
Yeah, you can see the top picture from the earthquake and the bottom picture, colorful, a lot more vibrant, showing the university campus.
It is a beacon of light.
To contrast the two, because that is the relationship. So Armenia is a part of my life. You know, I lived there during my years of presidency, 5 years, and then one more year as interim president from 2022 to 2023. I have many, many friends there. To be honest, if we were not bound by our grandkids, we have 2 grandkids. They're very little, and we enjoy every day time with them. If it wasn't for them, we would spend most of the year in Armenia, my wife and I. We have an apartment there, and we go there several times a year. We spend a lot of time with our friends. We love spending time in Armenia. It's a wonderful place. And so, and I must say, putting it, AUA is the most important achievement in my life. I consider much more important than what I've published or done at UC Berkeley. The awards I've gotten, membership here, there, the National Academy of Engineering, U.S. National Academy. But the most important achievement in my life naturally has been AUA because, I have to tell you, when I'm in Armenia and I walk in the streets, very often there are these young people who smile at me. I don't know them, but immediately I know these are AUA students or graduates, and often they come close to me and talk about their AUA experience. And it just, the impact on me is enormous. It makes my day,
Of
my
course.
week, but it happens a lot in Armenia.
You know,
This
you,
is a very, very important part of my life.
you are a giant and you deserve a standing ovation. My
Thank
question
you.
to you is there any last comment you would like to make as you address the community?
Well, uh, I might say about the book a little. I think I've written the book with idea of uh, the book being of interest to a broad group of people, those who are interested in education in
Mhm,
general,
mhm,
not necessarily in Armenia, those who are interested in starting a new university. The book describes the kinds of difficulties that you have to address. So this could be of interest to
mhm.
those kind of people. But the book would be particularly of interest for people who are interested in education in general in
Yeah.
Armenia in Armenia. So it has a lot of stories, some of them humorous, some of them not so humorous, but it's a series of stories and gives a general picture of the university. In chapter 8, for example, I list events that we held over the years. There are many, many, many pages, but I want people to know that this is a vibrant institution. It is connection of Armenia with the outside world. All kinds of experts from abroad come there, talk, give their
Mhm.
advice, give their opinions, and it enriches the life of people in Armenia. These are open to the general public. Often, these are done with in association or collaboration with the government or the other universities or institutions. And so AUA on a daily basis is enriching the life in Armenia and bringing knowledge and expertise that uh, slowly affects life, government, society in Armenia. So I'm making a pitch. The book is sold by the American University. It was published by AUA Press, and it's not just a narrow picture of the university, AUA, but a much broader with stories that hopefully will be of interest to the readers.
Գիտեք, դոկտոր Դերգյուրեղյան, մեր հայդակիրը ընդհանրապես երկլեզվով կհաղորդվի, եւ հայերենով, եւ անգլերենով, եւ մարդիկ հաճախ կգան կադին կսին Վարդան, ինչպես կարող ես դոկտոր Դերգյուրեղյանի հետ խոսիլ առանց հայերեն խոսելու, քոնե մեկ նախատասությունը թողսեր, ինչ է խոսքդ հայերենով մեր քաղաքին, հայերենով եւ փագենք։
Այո, իհարկե, հայերենով ինչու գիրքը անգլերեն եմ գրել։
Ինչու՞
Դա
թե
ինչու հայերեն չեմ գրել։
հասկանալի, այո։
Այո, անգլերեն եմ գրել, քանի որ ավելի լայն ձևով կարող է ընկալվի, ոչ հայերի կողմից մանավանդ կարող է ընկալվի, կարդացվի եւ ինչու AUA-ի մեջ դասընթացներն անգլերենով են։
Ահա,
Իսկապես էլ սա բոլոր դասերը անգլերենով են, բացի հայերենով դասընթացները կան հայերեն լեզվի
Լեզվի։
եւ հայոց պատմության դասընթացները, որը երկու տարվա ընթացքի մեջ երկու առարկա լեզվի եւ երկու առարկա պատմության դասավանդվում են հայերեն լեզվով։ Միայն մեկ դրանք կան կարելի է 10 դասարաններ կան, քանի որ ուսանողների թիվը շատ են, 10 դասեր կան ամեն մի սիմեստրի ընթացքին հայերենով տրվում է, բայց ունենք նաև մեկ դասարան անգլերենով են տրվում, թե հայերենի լեզվի կամ գրականության եւ թե հայոց պատմության դասերը տրվում են անգլերենով օտար երկրից եկած ուսանողների համար, քանի որ ոչ հայ կամ հայերեն, որ բավարար հայերեն չգիտեն, միայն մեկ դաս այդպես տրվում է իրենց անգլերեն լեզվով, բայց մնացած 9 տրվում են հայերեն լեզվով։ Բայց ինչու անգլերենով, քանի որ գիտեք հիմա անգլերեն լեզուն համաշխարհային լեզու է, գիտության, գործի, բիզնեսի, կառավարական, դիպլոմացի, բոլոր այդ բաները շատ կարևոր է, որ Հայաստանում լինի, ամեն մարդ պետք է ուժեղ ծեվի հայերեն լեզուն իմանա, ամեն հայ պետք է, բայց նաև պետք է լավ կարողանան անգլերենով արտահայտվել, որպեսզի, ինչպես ասացի, international business, diplomacy, international relations այդ ճյուղերի մեջ կարևորը դա է պատճառը, որ մենք նույնիսկ Եվրոպայում հիմա Գերմանիա, եթե դուք գնաք, օրինակ ես շատ մոտ կապեր ունեմ Technical University of Munich, իրենց master's-ի ծրագրերը բոլոր անգլերենով։ Շատ համալսարաններ Եվրոպայի մեջ, Ֆրանսիայի մեջ, Գերմանիայի մեջ, բարձրագույն դասերը ընդհանրապես անգլերենով են։
Դոկտոր Kiureghian, շատ շնորհակալ եմ եղած։ Իսկապես մենք բադիվ ունենք ձեր հետ արի ու խոսելու եւ ձեր միտքը, ձեր խոսքը բաժնելու մեր ժողովրդին հետ։ Շնորհավորել այս քիրքին, որ իսկապես դերգությունները, որ գուտակ լի ամեն տեսակ մանրամասնություններ կան եւ հաջողություն կմաղթենք ձեզի AUA-ին, ուսանողներուն, բարերարներուն եւ հայ ժողովրդին, հայրենիքին հաջողություն բոլորին։
Շատ շնորհակալ եմ, Մարթան, շատ շնորհակալ եմ առիթի համար եւ կիսում եմ հաջողություն ենք մաղթում առաջին հերթին Հայաստանին այս դժվար պայմանների մեջ, համալսարանին, Սփյուռքը, ես շատ ցանկություն ունեմ, որ միասնական լինեն Սփյուռքը, Հայաստանը, պետությունը, կառավարությունը միասին աշխատել այս ուղղությամբ։
Շնորհակալություն։